And our discussions about networking, SDN, and traditional data center virtualization becoming blurred, and how is software-defined networking and network programmability becoming more of a challenge for our industry. Here at the Dell TIA NOW Studio at TIA 2016 Network of the Future, TIA Now will look into this topic with Ramki Krishnan. He's Distinguished Engineer and Chief Technology Officer for NFV at Dell Networking. And Ramki, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. I had a chance to watch a few of your presentations on YouTube, so it's impressive stuff this over the last few years. So it's nice to actually meet you.
Thank you. My pleasure too.
Well, thanks for being here. I want to talk to you right off the bat about these blurred lines that I talked about, software-defined networking and network programmability. Are those topics and are those discussions now becoming blurred?
Yes, indeed. I think there is a lot of talk in the industry about programmability at different layers. Starting from switches in terms of what gets implemented in hardware, the software. But the problem is there is often not a use case relation. We just talk about programmability in general. I can do these cool things. I can look at some packet headers. I can read out traffic. But there is never a proper use case on what it's going to do to me and how it's going to be managed and deliver a full solution. And that's the biggest challenge for the vendors and operators to come work together and make it happen.
Let's talk about IT admins and really how the blurred lines impact and challenge these IT people.
So, the IT people are lost at actually what is it going to mean in terms of delivering a use case. And that's where, for example, let me give a classic example. If you go to them and say that, hey, programmability provides a better way of network monitoring, right? So, for example, the traditional approach is, hey, I need to get packet counters by doing an SNMP poll, right, from the switches, versus these packet counters can be embedded dynamically in line with the packet to programmability, and I can do more real-time analysis through the packets. That's a different conversation. And that's how, this is just one of the ideas or use cases you can do, but there are several key use cases you can address through programmability, and use case discussion with a specific implementation on how we are delivering the whole solution then takes them to the next level and addresses these challenges.
Now, we talked in an earlier panel with TIA CTO and a couple other folks about NFV security. What are the latest approaches from Dell's point of view to managing security requirements? And I want to sort of ask you from a couple different perspectives. Number one, from a carrier perspective.
Absolutely. So, the biggest challenge, from a Dell point of view, our real focus is on the NFV infrastructure, which includes network, compute, storage. And also working with key partners on the virtualized infrastructure management layer. In an open ecosystem, it's all on an open stack, but it's not necessarily that. It could be VMware also playing a role there. But this is basically the Dell package, and we are open to the type of orchestrators we work with. We are not limiting ourselves in any way. And also the point to note is, even when it comes to network controllers, we are quite open. We're not prescriptive and say Dell is always packaged with ONOS or with OpenDL or any of those. So, given this background where Dell is, one of the biggest challenges from an infrastructure perspective, and given that our biggest focus is hardware, is working with Intel especially very closely and making sure the isolation aspects are fully addressed from a hardware perspective, and how those features are leveraged by the software implementation, especially the virtualized infrastructure manager. And as you can clearly see, to deliver the right SLAs, one of the biggest challenges, say for example, if you pick an application like real-time video streaming, live video streaming, then you got to make sure that your infrastructure can meet the reliable delivery requirements. A single packet drop could mean basically a bad screen for a long time in a video, essentially the QoE versus the QoS aspect. So that said, essentially our focus has been delivering the security isolation aspect, and in fact we are leading this work in OpenStack in terms of essentially infrastructure policies and mapping them to the right type of hardware requirements which are available.
Thank you. I want to also get your perspective on managing security requirements, but really from the vantage point of an over-the-top player.
From an over-the-top layer, I think what we are looking at is essentially, so I think the best way to drive that conversation would be go back and think something like, for example, a CPE use case where there are different deployment models. One could be completely over the top SD-WAN, right? The other approach is the carrier is coming in the middle and offering the service. But to us, both models eventually are the same, because the way we are thinking about is what all you need to do to deliver the use case, and not necessarily who is the one delivering the service. So by that, say if the CPE is being used over the top by the enterprise directly, right, without any carrier being involved, then all we need to make sure is work with the right software vendors and make sure the traffic is encrypted as it goes to the enterprise cloud. So we are completely cognizant of both the over-the-top models or the carrier cloud models.
So yeah, sorry to interrupt. So moving away from NFV security, just for a moment, what sort of noteworthy developments have there been, let's say, over the past year as far as NFV programmability?
Okay. So number one I would like to highlight is essentially just standardization of different capabilities, especially in hardware. So what we really see is the same capability could exist in a NIC. For example, if you want to do a VXLAN tunnel overlay, or it could be, for example, we talked about the queue depth or the timestamp capability that could be implemented in a vSwitch, or it could be in a smart NIC, or it could be even in the switch. As long as this capability is well understood, so why not standardize it versus consider it one-off? And the beauty of standardization is that then implementations can move faster, and you can make placement decisions by just using one common code base, but being able to leverage the power of disaggregation across different NIC vendors or different switch vendors or different type of virtualized switch implementations.
I think, so we started this interview talking about the blurred lines between software-defined networking and network programmability, and it just seems that it's essentially what it is. It's a blurred line, and we appreciate you trying to unblur the line. And hopefully we'll have some more discussions about it. I'm confused. But thanks for talking to us, and hopefully we'll talk again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thanks. And thank you for joining us at TIA 2016 Network of the Future. And from the Dell TIA NOW Studio, for more coverage, please visit tianow.org. So long.